Hey, what's up, guys? It's Coach Mac, playfastfootball.blogspot.com. What I'd like to talk about today is how you actually block some run-pass concepts, how you determine who you're going to identify as the conflicted player or the player that you're going to read off of, and how you can actually incorporate some easy blocking schemes that you may already have into your concepts to add pass plays, all right, tagged in along with those runs. We did an individual blog on package plays in the past, so this is not going to necessarily be one to say that we like these certain package plays. This one is more about how you teach your linemen to block those runs while throwing pass concepts along with them. What I think is the easiest way to do it, and what I think is a way to make it simple so that your kids already have a scheme or already have something that they can relate to, so that every time you run a run-pass concept, it doesn't become a new theory or a new play to your kids. All right, so in the previous package plays blog that I did, we talked a little bit, we talked about stick draw, talked about possibly running, power read with jet sweep. We talked about, maybe throwing screens off of drop back passes where you had, a drop back pass on one side with a screen tag to the other. All right, so again, I'm not really going to talk about what individual package plays, that I like or that we run. What I'm going to talk about is some of the standard generic package plays that you see every week, and what I think is the easiest way to get your kids to determine, or the easiest way to teach your kids how to block those. All right, when you're talking about run-pass concepts, okay, the thing that you need to understand is what makes these plays so effective is when you pick a defender that you're going to conflict. When you make a run-pass concept, what you're doing is you're taking a second-level defender now. All right, I think everybody that is coaching football from youth football through middle school to high school in the year 2014 has a little bit of an understanding what a zone read play is. All right, and I think a lot of people are very aware and very cognizant of leaving a down lineman unblocked that you're going to read like old-fashioned option football. I mean, that's been going on for 50, 60, 70 some odd years. All right, that theory is not new. But the theory of reading second level, and now some of the big time colleges are even reading third level guys. We didn't read anything third level this year. But reading a second level guy is a relatively new concept. And the reason it really came about, in my opinion, is because it takes advantage of the rule that offensive linemen can be approximately 3 yards downfield while a pass can still be thrown. Okay, so what it does is it lets the offense kind of, finagle a rule that really should probably be changed, in all honesty, because it's kind of unfair in a way to the defense. But the rule states that offensive linemen have 2.5 or 3 yards downfield, and then it's a judgment call based on the officials, based on when that ball was thrown, where that linemen were, because there's no direct line on the ground. It's a gray area from the line of scrimmage. Okay? So what offensive coaches did was they took that rule and they said, okay, what if we were to throw some passes behind some guys while blocking runs up front so that we can physically block a run play but also take advantage of maybe some run fits from the defense and throw into voided zones. All right, so offensive guys got really smart within the rules, and they started figuring out along the lines of option football to say, look, how much tougher can it be than making a guy who has a run-pass conflict now? Okay, because now what you're talking about, what you have to understand is a linebacker has two things on every play that he's got to do. He's got a run responsibility and he's got a pass responsibility. All right? So instead of just reading off a down lineman to see whether or not he tackles the back or plays the quarterback, okay, now you're asking a guy who has two jobs on every play. All right, in any standard-based defense, unless he's a blitzer, he has a run gap to fit, and he also has, all right, some type of pass coverage zone or pass coverage man to play. So when you combine a run and a pass concept together, and you read a second-level defender, you're really putting the bind on a guy that says, well, I have to fit that run that their offensive line is physically run blocking, okay? But while fitting that run that the offensive line is physically run blocking, they're throwing passes behind me. And there's no way for me to tell my coach that I made the wrong read because I'm not getting a hi-hat or I'm not getting a set from a lineman. I'm physically getting a double team climbing to me, which looks to me like some type of inside run. All right? So what you're doing with the run-pass concept is you're taking a defensive guy who's a second-level player, and a second-level player usually has two jobs where he's got a run fit and he's also got a pass coverage. Okay? So what you're doing is you're putting the conflict on that guy, and like I said, we did a blog on conflicted defenders, so this is not about who we're going to conflict or how we're trying to conflict them. This is about how to communicate it to your offensive line to get it taught right. Okay? So first one we're going to go through is a standard. All right, standard one that you know Chip Kelly brought to the NFL with him, and it's a standard basically, you know, inside to outside zone play, taking advantage of the ability of the backside inside linebacker to fit runs and to run to the front side. Okay, so in this first one, all right, what Chip Kelly did was he got it to where he would block a zone theory. Okay, all right, he would block, all right, a zone theory with his normal inside run plays. All right, and when they did that, now on the backside, okay, now on the backside, all right, you could either read off of this end, or if he had a tight end in, he could either block this depending on where he was. If he was in a 7, he could scoop him. If he was in a 9, he could sift him up to the Sam linebacker, right? So what they started doing within the run-pass concept, okay, is they said, all right, what if we block the backside end, but we read a second-level defender? Okay, so now all of a sudden, what if we block the backside, and now we read a second-level defender? Okay, and now we say that based upon the action of that second-level defender, we're either going to give the run play or we're going to throw a pass. So what they did was they took this standard inside zone, sometimes depending on the structure of the fit, outside, they might run outside zone, but they took this back and they went here. And now they had the quarterback read the mic and say, listen, if the mic wants to fit his A-gap on runs away, they took this tight end and they just released him right there. They ran stick out here or the short out cut by 2, took the 1 and ran him vertical. Okay? So what they did was they put the run-pass conflict on that Mike linebacker. Okay? All right, so they put the Mike linebacker in a bind. Does he fit the run? Does he play the pass? All right, but that's not their zone blocking rules, so they couldn't call it zone. All right, they couldn't call their zone play, so they had to figure out another way to do it. All right, so what we did with our kids is we said, listen, if we were going to throw the football to this side, and we were going to be a half slide protection team, okay, our front side linemen would be big on big man players, and our center would turn the protection back. Okay? So if we wanted to throw the ball this way in a one-back set, and we wanted to make sure we could account for all the linebackers that may come, okay, we would turn our center away from the play call. All right? So, for argument's sake, if this was a read a call, okay, that meant we were throwing the ball to the right, so my right side offensive lineman had to be a man-on-man, big-on-big scheme. My center would then turn the protection to make the left side, the zone side, away from the read a call. Okay? So when we decided that we wanted to run run-pass packages, all right, instead of me giving my offensive lineman another run to block, all right, or instead of giving my offensive lineman another rule, I just told them that we're going to ID the front as if it's pass pro. We're going to ID the front as if it's, all right, half line pass pro. And we're going to ID the linebacker that we're going to work to, all right, and then we're going to throw the run pass conflict off of the linebacker that we would read for blitz. Okay, so what you have to remember in pass pro, you determine who the Mike linebacker is. Okay, so for us, if this was a read a call, all right, my down lineman and my center who's in charge, he knows that we're going to block the down 4 and the backside, inside to outside linebacker, depending on whether it's a 6-man box or a 5-man box. Okay? So for us, even though I have them drawn up as the will, for us, this was the ID backer. Okay? So the center would come back and he knows, all right, he IDs that Will. That's the ID backer that we're going to quote unquote call the Mike. And the down lineman, all right, my 5 linemen are going to work the down 4 and the ID backer. And then in a passing concept, the quarterback would throw hot off of, all right, the linebackers that were left. So now that we want to run a run-pass conflict, if we do the same thing, we're still going to leave the Mike unblocked while blocking the down 4 and the ID backer. Okay? So when we came to where we wanted to run-pass, all right, packages, all right, we made them all draw theories for our kids. Okay? And we had certain plays, all right, that would fall under a list. Okay, and hopefully you can see that. If not, I'll do it over here too. We would have certain plays that fell under a list or a category of draw plays. Okay? And anything that was a draw play was always going to be blocked that way. Okay? So anything that was a draw play, all right, we knew that my offensive lineman knew that we were going to block Linda, Rita rules. Okay? And then what we were going to do was I was going to make my center make a stampede call. Okay? And all that did was that told our offensive line, block Rita Linda rules. Stampede tells you to run block those rules. Okay? So, we had certain plays that fell under the draw category. Okay? And however you want to do it within your no huddle system or within your play call system, okay? Let's just say that the one that everybody loves to talk about all the time, let's just say that we were Peyton Manning, all right, and one of our draw plays was Omaha. All right, because everybody hears Peyton Manning yelling Omaha all the time, Omaha. All right, so let's just say that one of our draw plays was called Omaha. All right? The play call would be Omaha Rita. Okay? Omaha Rita. We're going to run the draw play, which is a run-pass concept for us, and we're going to run it to the right. So my offensive line and my center knows that we want to be in Rita protection. Okay? We want to be in Rita protection. Okay? But then my center, when he got to the line, because he heard Omaha, and because Omaha is in the draw family, my center would come out and say, hey, Rita stampede. Rita stampede. So now when we get our Rita, we declare our rules for Rita, we run block it. So now instead of pass setting it, now we're actually going to physically run block it. So now we're going to physically base block the 7 or the 9. We're going to base block the 3. We're going to double the 1 and climb to the ID. We're going to base block that. So we're physically coming off the ball and run blocking it. All right? But we're going to conflict the Mike backer with the zone and maybe the stick or the vertical or whatever it may be. Okay? So some of you, I know a lot of you always talk when we go, anytime I do blogs and you say, Coach, it's even, we see a lot of 3-4, we see 5-2 lock, we see 3-3 stack. Okay? So it really didn't matter to us, all right? If we saw a 3-3 stack, okay, if we saw a 3-3 stack, sorry, just for terminology, I'll have to make one of those guys, the Will or the Mike. If we saw a 3-3 stack and we wanted to do it, okay, what we would do for us, all right, in our ID, okay, is against an odd front team, our center would ID that first, all right, inside to outside linebacker. That would be the ID, okay? And then anything behind him, we treat it as if that guy had a hand down. You know, in the old-fashioned days, guys used to talk about, hey, 1 and 2 on the line of scrimmage, 1 and 2 on the line of scrimmage. Well, when a team is odd, okay, the guy that's over the center, is he 1 or 2? What side's he on? Okay, so if we wanted to use a number system, we said, okay, we treat the guy that's on the center as if he's number 1 to the call side. There's your number 2 to the call side. Here's your number 1 away. And now that first linebacker outside the ID is your number 2 away. Treat him like he's got a hand down, and we know we got to work to him. Okay? So if we had that 3-3 stack look, and we came out and ran Omaha Rita, all right, my center would ID that Will linebacker and say, hey, that's our ID. That's who we're trying to work to. And we're going to treat this other guy here like he's got a hand down. So now technically, we're going to block these 5. Because I have 5 linemen, right? I have 5 linemen to block, so I need to ID which 5 I'm going to block. And then we're going to run past conflict the 6th guy. Okay? So if it was 3-3 stack, those would be the 5 I would block. And then my quarterback would read here. So what would end up happening is we would get a base block here, we would get a hard double on the nose there, we'd get a hard double out through the 5 there, and that would be the guy that we conflicted to say, hey look, if he sits where he is, let's run zone all day. If he tries to stick his nose somewhere back here to play the zone, let's replace him, all right, with the vertical, the stick, or whatever you want to run behind it. Okay? If we got a 3-4 all right, if we got a 3-4 and we had end here, nose here, all right, end here, and again, I realize that if it was a 3-4 they may not line up with the coverage, what they were going to do with the Sam, but just for argument's sake, you got a 5-man box with a 3-4 front and a backer somewhere out there. All right? What we would do is we would ID, our center would ID the first one back, that's the ID guy. Okay? Since it's odd, all right, the first one behind the ID, we treat it like he had a hand down. Okay? We treated him like he had a hand down. So in the old-fashioned days, that was 1, that was 2. Okay? We treated him as 1 on the play side, him as 2 on the play side. So now we came out, we said Rita Thunder, Rita Stampede. Okay? Rita Thunder for us was also one of our calls that we made in the run game, one of the calls that our center made in the run game. All right? So you could have a Thunder call. You could have a Stampede call. You could have a charge call. All right? Whatever those calls are that your offensive linemen like to make, okay, whatever they are, all right, you could say Rita Stampede, Rita Thunder, Rita Charge, okay, Rita Heavy. Whatever word you wanted to use that your O-line thought, all right, indicated some type of run block, okay? So Omaha Rita, we come out, we go Rita Stampede. All right, so let's go Rita rules and let's stampede it as a run block. So we would go base block here, double there, out to the 5, out to the outside linebacker there, inside zone. There is, all right, there's your conflict. Does he stick his nose in the zone play, all right, or does he get out here to play the stick or the vertical at the tight end? So what we did for us is we made it, all right, we made it a pass protection ID, okay, and we took one of the linebackers that would have been hot on the quarterback and we made him the conflict guy. So this way I only had to teach my linemen, I said, hey look guys, we already have slide protection and pass protection. So instead of giving you another run to say, hey guys, when we run draw, we got to block it like this. That's how your O-linemen start to fry and that's how they get all crazy. Just say, hey guys, when we run these draw concepts, block pass protection with a stampede call, block pass protection with a thunder call, block pass protection with a charge call, block pass protection with a heavy call, all right? Whatever call you want to make that lets you know that you want to run block those rules that you ID'd the front on, okay? So that's how we taught it to our kids. And then it didn't matter what the package was. All we had to do was get our kids to understand exactly, all right, what we were trying to do, okay? One of the big ones you see in college all the time now is you see 2-back, all right, you see 2-back sets with a slot set, okay? So you're going to see 2-back sets with a slot set, all right? And then I know everybody's going to get bent out of shape because I draw it up as even, all right? It's the easiest way to describe it to people first. So you see 2-back sets here, all right? And what you're going to see is you're going to get a motion out by a back, okay? You're going to get a motion out by a back, all right? And now what we want to do is we want to go, all right, with this, okay, tear motion, all right? We want to go with a tear motion, all right? And we want to run Omaha, Rita, okay? So here's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to go Omaha Rita, which tells us it's going to be a draw read play to the right. So my linemen are going to take their Rita rules and they're going to make a stampede call. So we're going to go base to 5, base to 3, double the 1, back to the will, base to 5. Some people, all right, Noma Zone and UCLA, some people like to fold on the 1, but the bottom line is the center and the guard have the 1 and the inside backer. Okay, here is that conflict defender now. When we go tear motion, what do they do to this side of the picture? Okay? If nobody moves, all right, we are going to raise up and throw the flare with 2 blockers out there. Okay? Nobody moves. All right, we're going to raise up and we're going to throw the flare out there. If this Mike linebacker starts to widen, okay, he starts to widen, and then maybe this Sam or whoever this nickel starts to widen. Now that he widens, we're going to say that he can't play the A-gap, so unless they're gap exchanging, we're going to say that we feel like we can get the inside zone play up in there because the Mike can no longer fold back into the A-gap, and we now have numbers in the box. So if the Mike widens and the nickel widens, okay, we're going to say that we can run the zone play inside, right? If there is rotation from the secondary, all right, if there is rotation from the secondary, if this guy comes down, there's a pretty good chance that that guy spins over. If there is rotation from the secondary, we're going to put all of our concepts together, and we're going to start with a run-pass concept, and then we're going to turn it into an access throw. Okay? So now we've got every scenario covered, all right? Every scenario covered for what they do. If they don't move, we throw the bubble. If they move and they widen, we run the zone. If they rotate secondary, we go access throw back here. This can be hitch, slant, fade, back shoulder, whatever you want it to be on the backside. But what you know is because of the secondary rotation, you got one-on-one to the backside. Okay? So you're taking everything that we've talked about in the last couple offensive blogs we've done, and you're building it into one play where you've got a run-pass concept, you ID'd it for your line, and you've got an access throw on the backside. Okay? You can go quarterback draw. Alright, so you can go 2x2, and you can go quarterback draw. So we would be in the pistol, 2x2. Now I'll draw up a stack. Alright, make it easier for people to see. Alright, Will, Mike, Sam. Let's just say that this is the left dog, this is the right dog, and let's just say we got corner, free corner. Okay? And now, alright, when we're in the pistol, if we're going to get the back out, we don't even give them a motion call. Okay? So for us, it's built into the call. So for us, this would be Omaha, Rita. Okay? Now, because it's quarterback draw and it's not inside zone, alright, we probably aren't going to call it Omaha. Okay? So this might become Orlando Rita. Because Omaha was an alert that we were going to give the inside zone to the tailback as part of the read. So I don't want to make an Omaha call. This is technically, alright, although it's in the same theory of plays, this is technically a different play, alright, because it becomes quarterback draw. So now maybe I have Orlando Rita. Alright, so I give the Orlando Rita call. The Orlando call is in that package of draw plays that my kids know is going to be a draw. So now as soon as I call Orlando Rita, okay, my center knows, hey, Rita Stampede. Okay, Rita Heavy. Rita Charge. Alright, let's ID Rita, and then let's go run block it. So here's the stack. So we ID Rita, so my center is going to declare, that's going to be the backer we ID. Okay, that's going to be the backer we ID. Okay, this is going to be the first guy behind the backer we ID. So technically in an odd front, he's the guy with his hand down. So here is one play side, here is two play side, here is one backside, here is two backside. Alright, so let's go ahead to tackle and pass protection. You got number 2 on the line of scrimmage, run block him. The guard, you got number 1. You're uncovered, one's in here. Run block him, and you two take care of the mic. The backside guard, okay, you're going to zone out to the B gap. You don't really need to worry about 1 or 2, but if you wanted to get, alright, technical with him, here's 1, here's 2. You two double that up to the will linebacker, okay? In an 8-man front, always be careful of where that guy's coming from. Alright, if that guy's a guy that likes to show himself, get out of 2x2, put a fullback in here, and now he can handle him on the backside, and you can still do what you want, because what we're going to do is this. Alright, we're going to tear, fast, quick motion out to a flare. And we're going to block this, and we're going to block that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tell the quarterback to read off of that. Okay? If that guy widens, put your foot in the ground and run quarterback draw. If that guy stays where he is, we have numbers to the bubble, throw the bubble. Okay? Now, in high school, middle school, all right, this play is a little bit tougher because you can't cut this guy. If this was college or the NFL, they'd be ripping the bubble out here and these guys would be cutting. And that guy would either have to scramble off a cut block or he would have to make the guy miss with the cut and slow himself down. This play's a little tougher in high school because if this outside backer walks, all right, if he walks your slot receiver back into the backfield, it's not as good of a play even though you still have a hat on a hat. All right? You still have a hat on a hat. All right? But at the same time, it's not as good of a play because he walks him into the backfield. College NFL, it's a great one because they get out here and they just start cutting that. Okay? So now we've put this guy in a run-pass conflict. We have a quarterback draw, all right, called with a tailback flare called at the same time. Run-pass conflict. My O-line. Coach, is that a new scheme? No, it's pass protection. It's Rita. Okay? It's Rita Stampede. It's Rita Charge. It's Rita Heavy. Okay? It's Rita whatever you want it to be to let your center and your lineman know to run block those guys. But coach, what if we throw the flare? You got 3 yards before you're downfield. Don't worry about it. Okay? So coach, we can run block this and throw the football? Yes, you can. Don't worry about it. Run block it. So coach, you want us to double this nose through the Mike slap? Yes. Vertically move him through the Mike slap. Don't worry about it. Okay? So we're building run-pass concepts in, teaching our linemen, all right, how to do it with pass protection so that we don't, all right, we don't give them another play to run, all right? The other thing, you know what we also did? We did the same thing and ran ISO, okay? All right? So again, this goes along the terms of playing fast football and not confusing kids. We got to a point where we wanted to run ISO, right? So we wanted to be in two-back, okay, and we wanted to just run straight ISO because we're a read team and we leave a lot of guys unblocked. And we got to a point where we said, you know what, we want predetermined runs, all right, that we know the tailback's going to have the ball and we don't read anybody. So we wanted to run ISO, and then you start thinking as an O-line coach, well, now I got to teach my kids how to run ISO. How do we figure that out? Don't teach them how to run ISO. Teach them how you pass protect. Half slide. Give them those rules and tag it Stampede. So now what we did, all right, is let's say you went, okay, and you went Alaska because it's cold, all right, and you told your kids that anything cold is an ice play. So you went Alaska, okay, and let's say you're a, who knows how you call your plays, you're an up-down, northwest, north-south, east-west team to call which side. So we said Alaska up meant ISO to the right, okay? So now that your kids know Alaska up is going to the right, tell them to block Rita rules. Block their pass protection, have slide rules. Now that they block Rita rules, tell them to block Rita Stampede and run block these guys. So now when we want to run ISO, instead of teaching a new scheme, we teach Rita rules. There's the guy we ID'd, so that's who we're going to work to. Run block him, double him, run block him, ISO to Mike. Now you've got an ISO play built in, and you haven't taught a new scheme to your offensive lineman. Your offensive lineman already knew how to half slide protect if they had half slide. If you're a sprint out team that doesn't have slide, well then you got to add ISO in. Okay? Now that you add ISO in, you've also added draw reads in to your run pass conflict. Alright, so maybe it's one extra scheme. For us, it's not an extra scheme. We have slide protect. That's our Rita protection. That's our ID. That's the guy the quarterback would read. You want to go ISO? Ice him up. Okay? Thousands of different ways you can do it. Every day on Saturday or every week on Saturday, you see teams doing it, especially with the mobile quarterbacks. They're getting in quads with a back. They're getting in 3x1 with a back. They're going bubble this way. Quarterback's looking bubble. If he doesn't like it, he's running power or something else. There's a ton of different ways with the mobile quarterback and with the one-back spread system where you're creating numbers in the box, spreading people out, and now adding a second level read into your game. Okay, so now not only do you have regular option football reading the ends, you're now reading second level players. Why is reading a second level player so effective? That guy has two things to do. Okay, that guy has two things to do. He's got a run responsibility and a pass responsibility. Okay, talk to defensive people. When they know that you read second level defenders, you know what they end up doing? Playing man or man free. Okay, all right, so now they've taken away, all right, they've taken away some of your read concepts, all right, because let's say for argument's sake you're 3x1, all right, they leave 6 in a box and they go ahead and they dog down, all right, all 3 of these players here, okay, They dog down all 3 players there, all right, and they say, look, go ahead and run your replay. Now you run 3 on the stick and you run draw to the tailback. This guy doesn't have to leave with his pass responsibility, and you can't block him, so you can't run the stick draw. Okay? Well, in order for them to do that,